So this is Math 114, 5.4, polynomials in several variables. So polynomials in several variables. A polynomial containing two or more variables is also called a polynomial in several variables. An example is this one. Why is it known like that? Because we have several variables or sets of variables, which is x and y. Evaluate polynomials in several variables. Sorry about that. Evaluate polynomials in several variables. Substitute the given value for each variable. Perform the resulting computing step. Evaluate 5x cubed y plus 6xy minus 2x squared y for x is equal to 3 and y is equal to -1. So we have 5 times x cubed. But we know that 3 is equal to x, so 3 cubed times -1 plus 6 times 3 times -1 minus 2 times 3 times -1. So this becomes 5 times 27 times -1 plus 18 times -1 minus 6 times -1. So 135 times -1 plus minus 18 plus 6 because of negative times a negative from there. So I have -135 minus 18 plus 6. -135 minus 18 plus 6 equals -147. Understand the vocabulary of polynomials in two variables. So in general, a polynomial in two variables, x and y, contains the sum of one or more monomials in the terms of ax to the power of n times y to the power of m. The constant a is the coefficient. The exponents n and m represent whole numbers. The degree of the monomial ax to the power of n, y equals m is n plus m. And this is the important part, the degree, okay? So we have determined the coefficient of each term, the degree of each term, the degree of the polynomial, the leading term, and the leading coefficient of the polynomial. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. The first term, we have 12x to the fourth y. So our coefficient on this is 12, and the full degree is 5. We have -5x cubed y seventh. This has a mistake from the book. This should be -5 as our coefficient, and 3 plus 7 is 10. -x squared, our coefficient is -1. Our power is 2. Coefficient on the last one is a 4, so this is our coefficient. It's also a mistake. This should be a 4, and this is what we have. Okay. Now the degree of the polynomial, which one's the biggest one? Well, the biggest one is this one. So our degree should be 10 because of this right there. And the leading coefficient would be -5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first term, we have 8x to the fourth, y to the fifth. Our coefficient would be an 8. And our degree for that term is 4 plus 5, which equals 9. The second one is -7x cubed y squared. That means that our coefficient is -7, and our degree is 3 plus 2, which is 5. Our third term is -x squared y. Then our coefficient is -1. And our degree is 2 plus 1, which equals 3. The second to last term is -5x. That means our coefficient is -5, and our degree is 1. And finally, we have 11, which is our coefficient. And since it has no variables, our degree is 0 on that. Now we need to find the degree of the polynomial. Which one's the biggest one? Which one would be this one? So the degree of the polynomial is 9. And the leading coefficient, because of this, is 8. So adding and subtracting polynomials in several variables. Polynomials in several variables are added by combining like terms. Polynomials in several variables are subtracted by adding the first polynomial and the opposite of the second polynomial. Like terms are terms containing exactly the same variable to the same power. So it's something we've already done. So we have 5x to the fourth y squared plus 6x cubed y minus 7y. I need to distribute this negative. So I have a negative times a positive. So I have negative 3x to the fourth y squared plus 5x cubed y plus 6y minus 8x. Like terms, this with this, this with this, and this with this. So like terms, the ones in green, so 5x to the fourth y squared minus these two. So I have 5x to the fourth y squared minus 3x to the fourth y squared. So the green terms would be 5 minus 3. That's a 2x fourth y squared. Done with those two. The purples, 6x cubed y plus 5x cubed y. That's going to give me plus 11x cubed y. I'm done with those two. Now, the yellows, negative 7y plus 6y. That's going to give me negative y minus 8x. Then we have the same thing. So I have negative 8x squared y minus 3xy plus 6. Distribute plus 10x squared y plus 5xy minus 10. Like terms, this with this, this with this, and this with this. So the ones in yellow, we have negative 8x squared y plus 5x plus 10x squared y. That's going to give me 2x squared y. So I'm done with those two. The greens, negative 3xy plus 5xy. That's going to give me plus 2xy. Cancel those two. And then 6 minus 10 is negative 4. Multiplying polynomials in several variables. The products of monomials forms that basis of a polynomial multiplication. As with monomials in one variable, multiplication can be done mentally by multiplying coefficients and adding exponents on variables with the same base. So this becomes 4 times 7, x cubed times x, and y squared times y to the fifth. So 4 times 7 is 28. We have variables of x, which is the same base. Therefore, the exponents will be adding. Same for the y, same base. Therefore, the exponents will be adding. So I have 28 x to the fourth, y to the seventh. So the same thing, but we're going to be distributing. So we have 6 xy squared times 10x to the fourth y to the fifth minus 6xy squared times 2x to power squared y plus 6xy squared times 3. So I have that 6 times 10 is 60. X times x to the fourth, that's going to give me x to the fifth because the exponents will be adding because we have the same base. And y squared times y to the fifth, same base, therefore the exponents are adding, so 2 plus 5 is a 7. So I'm done with this. Now 6 times 2 is a 12. X times x squared is x cubed because we have the same base, therefore the exponents will be adding. And y cubed plus 6 times 3 is 18xy squared. On this, so we have 6xy squared times 6xy squared minus 6xy squared times 5x plus 6xy squared times 5x minus 5x times 5x. So 6 times 6 is 36. X squared, y to the fourth. This cancels with this because whatever I get, one's positive, the other one's negative, minus 25x squared. This could have been done really simple. Solve by following the formula that states a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. If we allow a to equal 6xy squared and b equals 5x, then we have 6xy squared minus 5x squared. So 6 squared is 36. X squared is x squared. Y squared is y to the fourth. Minus 5 squared is 25x squared.